Hi there. How you
Who
doing?
left outside?
All the rain.
I want you to know it was me who saved your butt from getting soaking wet. I'm like, is the door unlocked?
Mr. Chair, you are ready and live on Channel 8.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, to the Templeton CPC meeting, September 9th, 2021. We will start this meeting and open it up with, oh, thank you. So present at the meeting is Mike Dixon, John Henshaw, Dennis Rich, and Carrie Novak here. And on the phone, we have George Andrews and Joanne Burden, all from the CPC. So one question for you, Dennis, in terms of our past minutes that we've approved, have you been able to post those with the clerk?
I didn't post the last meeting. We didn't have any in July. Yeah. So we were.
Okay,
I do have the last meeting so in August. I did not post those. I will do them.
okay, great, thank you.
Are
So
they
we will-
looking for them?
it was mentioned.
All right, I'll try to get them.
Thank you. And so Dennis has passed out the latest minutes from the, this meeting was August 12th, 2021. We ended up with a full quorum of that meeting, and that was an in-person / Zoom meeting, hybrid meeting. I have a copy of the finances that Dennis wrote down and wanted to confirm. So I will give those to him so he can compare his figures on the meeting, on the minutes, to make sure they're accurate. We also, so other than that, does anybody have any questions or comments or concerns about those minutes?
No,
Okay, so hearing that, I would entertain I mean, basically, he's written down all of these figures in there for the balances, and we have the actual numbers, and he had asked me to double check. And so, of course, I can do that right now, but I just as soon give him the ledger history and have him make sure, cross-reference the actuals with the notes and make sure they're up to snuff, and then they're fine with me. All the other stuff looks good.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes with the caveat that some figures may be changed to reflect the ledger that Mr. Henshaw is going to give Dennis.
Second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve those minutes with the condition of reviewing the numbers on the budgets. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will go through with a voice vote, and directed by Mike,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
John, yes, George,
yes,
Joanne.
Yes,
Okay, unanimously approved. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is about the needs analysis meeting, which we have scheduled for next month, October at 7 p.m. I would like to present that perhaps we move that to November. The reason being that'll give us the time in October meeting to kind of go through everything and be better prepared than we will be if we just wing it now.
make a motion, we go to November with the meeting.
Okay, so that would be at 7 p.m. And our regular meeting would be at 6:30 p.m. And the date on that, gotta make sure we don't hit, not sure when Veterans Day is. First one to get that ends September, October. So that Veterans Day is the 11th, is on the Thursday. That would be our meeting. So I guess we're going to have to confirm with the availability of the hall for another night, or we could have it on Veterans Day, but I don't think we probably should.
I don't
It is a
know
holiday.
unless we
Yeah.
should, no.
Okay. Now, how do people sit on the third Thursday?
I have land trust.
Okay. So we may need to, we will need to finalize that because we will need to get it posted. Do people have a night of we'll have to confirm, we'll have to do an email poll and set it then. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Because we have to see what's available as well.
Yep.
So we're gonna move it. Our October meeting will stay the same, which is October the 14th. And I will remove the posting of the needs analysis meeting for that night, but I will confirm with everybody when we're gonna have our November meeting. Okay?
That's fine.
Okay. So we are going to talk about the next item is CPC Finances. We went through all of the numbers last month. We do have an outstanding bill for Scout Hall. So the Scout Hall project, there was a bill that came in for $2,000 from Wolford Electric, which I submitted approval of. And then we have another bill for a dumpster of $348.60 for Patriots Road as well. That also needs to be paid. So we have voted the approval of the chair to make approvals of budget items, and then, in the essence of time, so that bills get paid. We also have the River's Edge project ongoing, and these projects have listed a body from the town as the responsible party. In the case of Scout Hall, it's the Board of Selectmen, and the River's Edge have been working with conservation. The select board have been working with conservation on the River's Edge project. They also had bid preparation documentation that they've put out. So I guess what I'm looking for is confirmation that we should pay these existing bills, the $2,000 electric bill for electrician and the $348 dumpster bill, but also whether the committee would be willing to just have the town manager acting for the Board of Selectmen to approve warrant articles for the Scout Hall project. They're overseeing the project.
This is coming out of the funds that have been appropriated.
Yes.
I'm confused by what you mean about the manager approving warrant articles. What did you mean by that?
So we get, the vendor warrant is how the town pays its bills.
Oh, that kind of warrant.
Yeah, so I'm sorry for my confusion there. So in other words, an invoice comes in,
Okay,
they put it on what they call a vendor warrant that gets approved by the treasurer, accountant, really. The accountant needs to have the appropriate authority
okay.
approve the expenditures.
All right, and they have like a scope of work or something to refer to, so when a bill comes in, they can look at the scope of work and say, oh yeah, this was already taken into account, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And then we can, we can continue to consult with them. I can, as the chairperson, can bring it back to the board. But if it's a mundane type bill,
Yeah,
I don't see any problem with having the town manager give the approval of the vendor warrant.
You
Or
usually
Scout Hall.
do approval now.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we keep track of what we're spending.
Well, we also can get a referral back from the treasurer. If you wish to keep it that way, that's fine.
I'm relying on somebody else. I don't know.
Okay.
When the project was set forth, and the electrician put in a bid for the work, would the town accountant compare the bill against what the quote was to make sure that there's no significant changes, or?
No, the accountant wouldn't do that. The accountant would get a bill that's been approved and pay it. So, the Board of Selectmen have taken the lead on that project.
Yeah.
And so the town manager is going through the processes that are required. But if you wish to keep it as is, that's fine with me.
Well, I'm just concerned that if the electrician quoted $3,000 and he puts on a bill for $5,000 and nobody's looking at that,
Right.
Who's
Yeah,
keeping them on?
that would be up to the person responsible for the project. And then that's what would lead, that would say, yes, this fit the scope of work. Yes, this met the bid specs.
Yes.
I approve it. The accountant gets an approved to pay warrant and then make sure there's money and she pays the bill.
Mhm.
But it sounds like we should just keep the status quo.
Well, did you originally have authority within a certain range to authorize those in between meetings? Like you say, if a bill comes in that's not large, it's within the scope of work to pay it on our behalf between meetings, or would this
Yes.
just be?
That's what we vote annually.
Okay,
I think we voted to give you the authority to
Yeah.
approve
Yeah.
those kind of things.
so you just
Yeah, I
have to
think
know
the
the bill
other-
is here.
The other kind of a checkpoint, see that it kind of fits what we were expecting.
Okay. And that's fine. And I can
Well, I mean,
communicate
in
with,
fairness to you, is it something that causes a lot of work for you? Is it something that you would like to not have to do? I mean,
well, the issue is when we have a bill and they want to get it approved the same day they want to pay it. But we do weekly warrants, so it just means that they have to wait a week to get their money. And typically bills are net 30
Right, sure,
anyway.
yeah.
So I don't think it's any hardship. And so I'm fine with keeping it as is.
No, I feel more secure with it as is.
Okay, and so that's fine. Is that okay with you guys on the phone? Any challenges?
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so I will continue to work with the project managers, if you will, for these different projects and approve and submit the vendor warrants with your authority as the committee. And then I would bring it back on the monthly basis. Obviously, if it's like tonight, I could present it to you and say, hey, we got this bill for $348. Do you approve it? And it's, but in lieu of it being a monthly meeting schedule, we'll go forward and if there's any controversial things, then I will either call a meeting or consult or whatever we need to do to follow whatever the rules are.
All right.
Okay, so moving
One
forward.
question.
yeah.
Has that authority been voted on by the group for 2020, 21, 22?
You know what, I think we should probably, it's been such a long time since we've been here in person. We probably should reauthorize that, frankly, yes.
So I make a motion that we authorize the chairman to coordinate warrants for payment for services rendered.
And to provide approval.
Yes. Right. Provide approval to the,
For the warrant article.
for the warrant item, yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. There's been a motion made and seconded to grant the chairperson the authority to approve warrant articles for approved projects. And of course, the caveat being the expectation of sharing that at this next meeting. Any discussion?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Hearing no further discussion,
Yes,
we'll do another vote. George says yes. Joanne?
Yes,
yes,
Dennis? Mike?
yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Carrie, yes. John, yes. Okay, unanimous. And since we're at that business as well, we should probably confirm the composition of the board, meaning that we need to make sure that we do have a chairperson elected, as well as a vice chair and a clerk. Presently, I am the chairperson, Carrie is the vice chair, and Dennis is the clerk.
Make a motion, we keep the same slate of officers.
I
I'll
second.
second.
Oh, okay. All right.
Motion made and second. Any discussion or deferrals? Hearing none, we'll do another roll call vote. George,
Yes,
Joanne,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
and John votes yes. Okay, one more year of the same. Thank you very much. So moving forward, current project updates. As everyone knows, the 4 Elm Street Baldenville property used to have a building on it that the town approved CPC funding for the creation of open space that allowed us to take the building down and remove the debris and clean it up. And also had additional funds to for the reuse of an open space venue, if you will. There had been discussion of creating a Veterans Park there. That was decided not to be the case. And so they have gone forward with a River's Edge Conservation Area. This land is in the care and custody of the Conservation Commission. And Adam has been working with the Concom, Adam LaMontagne, our town manager, whatever his title is, administrator. He has gotten the notice of intent approved, I believe, by the
Yes.
Conservation, and they're going to go out to bid for the work. George, do you want to share anything about the project?
Well, no, they had to resurvey it all because the survey wasn't correct. I guess that was another project they had down there, and that's all been taken care of. And me and Adam have talked about the sign and what side. Our only question is where on the land do we want to put it? Do we want to put it on top of the stairs so people as they're going down, or do we want to put it on the fence that's already there? And that would be the opinion. We haven't decided yet, but we will take input from this committee.
Okay, great. You know, we don't need to decide that right away.
Right.
So what has gone out is a request for bids that will be accepted at the town office up until Monday, September 27th at 2 p.m. Sealed bids for River Edge site work. There is an invitation to bid document. You can get it online, and it describes the scope of the anticipated work. You know, many of you have seen much of this. I have a copy of it here to share if anybody wants to look at it. Obviously, George, you've seen it, and they did get their site walk and their notice of intent approved by your Conservation Commission.
Yes, I made sure it was taken care of, so they had the time. The three more years.
Great, and so there is an approximate, so obviously the bids are going to come back. They had indicated that there was approximately $32,500 available, which is the residual of the CPA funds for this project. No other monies from CPA are approved beyond what was originally voted in the article. If the bids come back higher than that, then the town has the option of finding additional funds through other avenues, other budgets, and or coming back for additional funds through CPC or putting it out to bid again. That's the way I understand it.
That's what I understand also.
Okay.
What type of site work are they looking at doing?
Basically, you know, there's some tree planting and an accessible walking trail of with a gravel walk and a bituminous walk. There's a layout of it. You can you know, take a look at that. Let's see. Here is basically, you know, that's the land, and they're basically going to put a little loop walk in there and get the grades and.
I already have a copy of that, so it's no problem. I got a copy from Adam.
Yeah, and so, you know, they've gone through the work with the developing of the project to the design phase and the approvals for Concom. And so it looks good to me. I think they've done a good job of laying it out there and also making sure that, you know, they've covered all their bases in so much that it's a bidder will know what they're getting themselves into and that the project can be done. And then we'll have this nice, you know, finish that project, if you will. Okay, so any other questions or comments on that project?
No.
Okay, so other current projects, you know, as you recall, last month we voted to extend the Grange Hall project to end at the same time as their next phase, meaning the egress project, which is the handicap accessible ramp, will be kind of in sequence with their additional project to do some interior work. And that, I think, is 2023 sometime. We have that date from last month.
I actually have a question.
Okay.
When we did that, I think when the motion was made, I got the impression that we were talking about both the ramp and the inside wiring, the two awards funded were to be done by,
Yes, they would, so
okay,
basically, they're gonna be done the same time. And all we've done is added time to the ramp project so that it fits the time of the other project.
okay. I needed probably to add that in the minutes. I thought of it after I had written them.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is the date of, oh, yeah, no, right here,
Got
January 2023.
2023.
Yeah.
And then this is just gonna be, when you correct the figures, that'll be. Yeah, so that's the update on that. The other thing is Scout Hall, so the select board are taking an active revisiting of moving that project forward, and that's why the electrician work was done. I will ask Adam for another update of that, which we will present for October. The other things that are going on is the annual report that we submit to the town, to the state, so that we can get our matching funds on time, will be submitted by that deadline, which is September 15th. That's something I do annually. It's an electronic submittal. Anything else anybody else wants to bring up about current projects? We kind of reviewed some of them last month as well.
Just that, I don't know if I mentioned last month that Dwelly Farm has planted about 200 perennial native wildflowers, according to the botanist. And first we didn't have rain, now we have lots of rain. So they've taken pretty well. So we've got some growth going on down there.
That's great. So that is, we discussed that last month, that's a phased project. So they will do completion probably next spring-ish.
Yeah, and then we have the continuing of the invasives, and that was about a 3-year project. So that will take a little bit of time to completely end out.
Yeah, so that's great. And we would probably, hopefully, I know they're having a meeting, the North County Land Trust is having their annual meeting coming up. Probably we'll want to have maybe a meeting out at their site someday, perhaps when it dries out in the spring, and see how things stand. So that's going forward. Any other current projects anybody wishes to? That's about it, basically. And then as far as potential projects, as I brought up last month, the Cemetery Commission is still evaluating what they might want to do in terms of the protection and preservation of headstones and, reconfiguring the layout of the fencing perhaps and other things at the common burial ground behind the church in Templeton. And that would include bringing in a group to clean stones using an approved cleaning solution. They're just still getting their research done. I don't know that they'll get a project together for annual fall meeting. I haven't heard the timing of when an annual fall meeting would be. And that's currently, essentially it's looking to me like we will probably be focusing our projects for the May annual town meeting. I know there's always a few things that have been spoken about. We did have a meeting just with the architect. The town had a meeting, the boards, Adam pulled together regarding the Bonneville Elementary School project that's using CPA money to redevelop the Bonneville Elementary School to affordable housing and a trail and things like that. So Adam brought in like the fire chief, the police chief, the DPW to talk about issues related to that as that long-term project moves forward. The Historical Commission was represented there as well. So that's a long project as well, as you might expect with all the securing of funding and approvals, but the process is moving. So it's nice to see that that's in action. Did anybody have any other potential projects or new business they wish to discuss?
I'm full disclosure, I'm a member of the Templeton Lions Club, and at a recent meeting, they were talking about the potential for getting CPC funds to re-roof the gazebo. That's the original roof that's on there. It's seen better days, and there was some discussion about potentially going after some CPC funding in order to re-roof the gazebo. So that's a potential project that just getting started, but I'll put it out there that there is some discussion about that.
Who would bring that forward? Who owns the
Well,
gazebo?
I'm going to recuse myself from all of that.
Yeah.
As a member of both groups, and it'll probably be the president of the club. So what we had suggested, getting price quotes, 3 price quotes for doing a roofing job, and finding out ballpark figures for doing the work, and then putting together a proposal for the CPC.
So the primary concern for that will be who owns the gazebo and which government body is responsible for it.
The gazebo was originally built by the Templeton Lions Club, and it's been maintained over the years, light maintenance as far as replacing broken spindles and paint jobs and that type of thing by the Lions Club. The town hasn't really put any money into maintaining the gazebo. They put in the bushes around the base, I believe. So more often than not now, the town is representing who can go on a gazebo for what purposes. The scheduling of the gazebo used to be left to the Lions Club so there was no conflict between weddings and concerts and all that type of thing. Really, the public use of the gazebo is limited now, 1 or 2 events a year. I think the next one will be Motorpalooza when they use the gazebo. So there's really not a lot of conflict as far as scheduling is concerned. So that's something that the club has to work out with the Board of Selectmen as far as who's going to take on responsibility for.
Seems like that's something that should be clarified.
Yes.
I guess that in relation to the need for securing insurance and such.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Lions Club carries the insurance on the gazebo right now.
Okay, so a couple items that we'll also need to concern ourselves with is that routine maintenance is not an allowed CPC, expenditure, but if it is a project, and this would not qualify for historic because it's not that old,
Right.
but it is a recreation entity, and it is of great value to the town. And so obviously, people want to see that. I mean, at least I do want to see it maintained and going forward. But then the beneficial use, if the town's money, CPC money is used for it, there has to be an explicit beneficial use of the town, access to at no charge or whatever. And I don't think that's an issue related to things like Halloween or whatever.
Of
But that's
course,
a selected
we're in the
issue.
talking stages,
Yeah.
beginning stages right now. I just wanted to throw it out there that there was some discussion about that.
That's great. And so another good example of a project that, doing the research and finding other examples of similar, relationships between a nonprofit and the municipality, because it's on town land and, all of those things. I mean, obviously, we just need to make sure that we work it through and it can't be a hugely expensive project, it's a great use to see that maintained going forward.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything they wanted to bring up or discuss? Am I forgetting something we should be speaking of projects, current or future? As far as the Baldenville fire station goes, that's still in limbo. We'll probably talk about that again this winter. And see where that might go. Does anybody have anything they might consider? Dennis, did you
No.
have anything under new business? Or, okay, old business? Okay, so our next meeting will be scheduled for October 14th at 6:30. Provided we're still in the same world, it will be like this, a hybrid. Those who come, and those who Zoom. Hopefully, we're not all Zoomed, but that's out of our control. I'm comfortable as being fully vaccinated and, socially distancing myself to come in person. And I'm, having a mask is tough in a meeting to talk, but whatever, we'll do what we have to. And then we're talking about moving the needs analysis meeting to November, but we'll have to settle for a November date.
What date did you pick on October?
October 14th is the second Thursday. That's So it's the latest it could be.
Yeah, right now I have farmer's market ending on the 7th, but I didn't know if we were gonna try to extend it some because of all the rain dates like today. That we've had. So,
Okay, so that's another good reason probably to roll the needs analysis to November, because likely by then, although then you may want to have a Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving farmer's market.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, well, if there's no other business to come before this board, we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.